Hello and welcome to Cuddick Farms. We're back with another episode of UMRV, Upper Mississippi River Valley, and we have done just a little bit of cleanup off camera. We have been working on a few of these odd jobs for far too long, so I want to get things kind of progressing here on UMRV. We have the last load of bales here on the semi-trailers, so I'm going to leave all of these bales on the trailer, and we're going to set this up right over here so that when we're ready to make more TMR, I've already got a load of hay ready to keep filling up our production. If we take just a quick look at the production menu here, you can see we're just barely starting to use up some of this hay. As we start moving forward through the winter, though, that'll change and we'll get through that. We are putting a dent into our TMR, though, which is good, I guess, because we've got capacity to keep things moving. I've got a load of manure here that's still pretty full. No point trying to go empty anything, and we were just filling up our digestate here because we do need to take this semi out to the field and refill the slurry spreader that we've got out behind the house. We want to keep that job going because we've got a bunch more of these grass fields that we need to get out here and put some slurry on, and I want to get all these jobs done before we move the clock forward too much because we get a fair amount of snow on this map, and if we wait until the snow shows up, we're not going to be able to run some of this equipment out in the field nearly as well. I believe the slurry spreader is just getting started on the headland passes here. So I'm going to top it off, and that should be more than enough to get it to finish up. Now, this is a crazy hill. I probably shouldn't be driving this big semi down here like this. I'm pretty sure we'd roll it down the hill if I were to do this in real life, but we're gonna just flip around in here, and whoops, we're going a little too fast. Try and get this thing unloading. There we go. We don't have to be too terribly close. I love watching the manure spreader drop down like that as it fills up. Pretty cool that it knows that it's got some weight on it, so it should squat down those tires a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and just get this thing back out of the field here because I don't think we're going to need it again in this field, and I don't want to be worrying about running into it or anything crazy. So I'm going to leave it right over here. This should be out of the way enough, and I should be able to just grab the nearest course here. I think everything else should be good to go. And then just checking in on other jobs, I did finish tillage over in that field behind the farm and got our equipment moved over into this field. We're already working on the middle part of the up-down rows. We covered the big parts, so this field isn't going to take that long. And then we've got one more field across the way there, which is our largest field to tackle after this one is done. So that means that we can jump over here to field 7 where we had the barley all set up in the drill ready to go, and I think the plan here is going to be to put this winter barley in at least this field. We'll see how it does, and that's going to free us up to be able to put some soybeans in here later. We might actually plant 2 fields of barley this year, or maybe we'll do one of wheat and barley. I can't remember. I feel like we talked about this in the previous episode. We'll see if my memory can keep up with me, and or we'll see what I feel like when we actually get done with this field. However, we should be able to come in here, and I think we're going to do, oh man, with this thing, 4 headland passes. I'm going to do all 4 headland passes. It's not very wide. And we are going to start working on the headlands, I guess, with the drill. I'm not really sure what would be appropriate here, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to generate course, and I think I'm good with it going diagonal on this course. I feel like that's what I did with the previous iteration. So I should be able to just hit go. We're in kind of an awkward position, but it seems like we're close enough to get started here, and off it goes. Looking good. We've got a nice 12 miles an hour here, and this shouldn't take too long. Let's tab in here. 42 minutes. That's actually not too bad for a big field like this with a small-ish implement like we've got. I'm liking that. We do have until the end of October to finish up all these jobs. I'm trying to make sure we get all of this done in October, though, so that we're all ready to go for just bumping the time forward as we get into the later part of the year. We do have some grain that we're going to have to sell, though, at some point. If we just pop into here, it looks like March is when our sunflowers are going to be up for being sold, which is good to keep track of. It looks like our milk is getting its best price here in October, which is really nice for us as well. And of course, we don't have any other crops here that need to be sold because we didn't plant any soybeans this year. We focused everything in on our corn silage operation. And man, I'm looking down here at how much seed we're going through, about 6.7 bushels an acre. We've already burned through 10% of our hopper, and we're not even done with the headlands. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. I think that we're going to need to definitely go pick up some more seed if we're going to finish this field, but we'll let this go for a little bit first before we make a run out there and buy anything else, because there are some parts of the field that won't necessarily use as much seed depending on the soil quality. In fact, you can already see we're down to 5.8 bushels in this section here already. We'll see how it goes. We've been trapped in October forever, so not a whole lot has changed here with our animals since the previous episode. Always just like to make sure that we've got our feed numbers topped off, which we're topped off in all three of the barns here, and we're going to be all set to move things forward there. So that leaves us with just 3 active jobs going on the farm right now. We've got our tillage happening here. We've got our slurry spreading going around on the final pass here, so this will be the next job that we have to interact with and get this switched over to another field. And then of course we've got the barley going in right across the creek here from us. Hopefully we're going to be able to see him as we come around. There he's going. Got that nice 8RX over there on the slurry spreader. Now I've been thinking about which equipment we should start upgrading, what fields we should start buying, things like that, now that we've got our financial situation well underway. I was tempted to upgrade this tractor on the slurry spreader, but honestly, I don't know if I want to mess with it. This setup has worked nearly flawlessly for us for several seasons now, and I just don't want to mess with it if it ain't broke. We're going to keep this old tractor on the slurry spreader and just let it do its thing, and we'll be focusing our attentions on some of the other equipment around the farm, most likely for upgrading and replacement. I know our combine is starting to show its age here. It's not the largest piece of equipment either, so if I'm going to start doing some bigger harvests on several of these fields, we might need to get an upgrade over there. So that's something I'm going to be looking at here over the course of the next year. We do have until next fall to pick that up. And maybe we'll take a look at some of the Kloss equipment that's been coming out. We've got a couple of nice Kloss forage harvesters that have worked well for us on the farm. Maybe we'll take a peek at what they've got to offer for regular combines here. Well, with this particular field done, we're going to jump across the way here and get into this field behind the house. Actually, it looks like I could squeeze by the side of the bins there, so I think maybe we'll try and do that. Jump in cab for a moment, see what that's about. Oh, we used up a lot more of that digestate than I was anticipating here. We're already down to just 1,500 gallons in the tank. Well, that's okay. We should be able to top this thing off. I should have gone out the other gate now that I say that, though, because the semi is over there for topping things off. So maybe we'll do that, because this isn't a great spot to reload over in the other field. I don't want to have to drive the semi out into that little spot on the driveway by the house there. So I'm going to instead bring this guy right on over here, and I'll back up into the trigger zone, because I don't think I'm going to get a trigger on this thing. I think I always have to overload from the semi-trailer if I remember correctly. So let's see about my backing up skills. I was hoping to be able to see how close I was getting to that semi there, but we'll go external. It's all good. And all topped off. Looking good. Perfect. Let's get rid of the horseplay course here, and we're just gonna zip right back around the yard and try this one more time. See if we can make it on over here without crashing into anything. No promises. With the tank full like this, it definitely pulls harder than what we had just a moment ago when it was empty. I do have to say I like the weight mechanics and stuff with some of these implements when they're set up well. I like that a full tank of digestate is really altering our driving capabilities here. All right, I'm gonna pull straight on into here. And we're just gonna keep our default settings, generate a course, and off we go. This should be a fairly straightforward course. Pretty much a couple of times around the field is gonna be all we really need to do. But we'll have a little bit in the middle here, I guess, that we'll have to take care of. That's all right. I think the starting point is actually facing the other way in this field for some reason, so we're gonna let it do its thing. Like I said, this entire piece of equipment has never failed us, or rarely failed us, I should say. And while this goes, I think I saw that as we've been gotten accustomed to, our tillage tool has gotten itself hung up on a turn, so we're gonna go ahead and toss this back down. I'm gonna see if I can get this guy back on his course. I'm gonna kind of freeform this bit so that we're overlapping. We've got the steering wheel all goofed up here. There we go. And let me see if it'll pick up the right course here. It looks like it will. We're gonna have to keep an eye on him for just a minute here, though. I think we may have a few more problems. So it looks like we're not actually needing to till that part for some reason. I don't know why it raised up and lowered it back down there, but I'm thinking if I can just get it to handle this part down here. In fact, I can see where we go back the other way. So what I might do, instead of fighting with course play like I have a tendency to do way too often, I'm gonna just manually jump in here and we'll see if I can take care of this. I'm gonna more or less follow the approved course though, as best I can. My driving is nowhere near as accurate as course play tends to be, but I think we'll have a lot less pain and agony, a lot less getting hung up on stuff if I make the attempt here. Might have a couple of little missed bits and pieces somewhere, but course play misses good enough on the corners that you can't hold me accountable for having some of the same issues. And then I should be able to just, pull right back into this same line. Get going more or less in a straight line. And boom, there we go. It doesn't look too terrible. Get rid of all these UIs that are popping up all over the place. And just double checking what we've got going on here. Looks like we're doing a pretty good job with the grass field already. We're on the path back up to get onto the headlands, it looks like. So that leaves us with needing to check up on our drill here. And as you can see, for some reason, the outside part has a different texture than the inner rows here. I'm not sure what that's all about, but as we're drilling these inner rows, it looks like we've got a different ground texture. That's very fascinating. Just out of curiosity, I'm looking at the map here. I don't see any differences as far as what we've plowed or done with the ground texture. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. Quite fascinating. I'd love to hear in the comments if somebody knows what might have caused the difference there between the two different areas. I don't know. I haven't really run into that recently. I feel like this is something that I've experienced in the past, but I don't know what's causing it now. We're already down to only 38.7 bushels left in the tank, though. We haven't even finished the headland passes, so I'm going to need to go figure out the seed situation. But before I do that, I've got to deal with this tillage thing one more time. That's all right. It's not a big deal. There's just kind of an awkward corner here that needed to be made, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and back up here, and we'll just tackle this. And I think once we're done with this little piece, that'll be the end of all of the wonky parts of this field. If I miss a little bit, I can always come back and grab it at the end if there's some spot of this field that doesn't get plowed well enough. I suppose we're going to need this menu again so that I can get the tractor on the right path and go. Oh no, stop. There was too many courses in that one spot. Let's try it from here. All right, it's on the right course now. Goodness, it's always something. Well, with that, we've got the seed in here actually. I, for some reason, thought we were gonna need to go out and get some more. Thankfully not, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this semi out there to, is it field 7, I think? Yeah. We're going to get this thing going, see if we can find a good spot to reload this. If I can get out there fast enough. I think he was actually heading up towards this end of the field. I'd love to be able to grab him while he's by the driveway and pause the course play drivers so we can refill the seed without having to drive all through the middle of that field with the semi here. We'll see. We've gone up too many gears. Let's give it a little bit more juice, see if I can get some speed going down this dirt road. I feel like 45 would be clipping pretty good down a road like this. All right, I don't see him in sight, which is unfortunate. It means I probably missed him. That's all right. We'll get pulled over here. I'm going to go ahead and pop the auger out. And, oh, he's up on the other end of the field there. Just take a quick look and see how he's doing. 25 bushels. We'll let him keep making some rounds. Looks like I'm going to have to bring the semi up here, though, on the end of the field to refill, unfortunately. And it looks like our slurry spreader is just finishing up here. No reason to force him to continue struggling through that turn. So I'm going to go ahead and grab him here. My camera controls get locked every time that course play window is open, unfortunately. Going to go ahead and close out of the course play course and get this thing all folded up. Now I have spread fertilizer on a few fields. Let's double check where we're at nitrogen wise. These two fields look good. I've technically done these other 3. I think I need to come up here and hit these smaller fields, 5, 4, and our big combined field. I don't remember if I'm even cutting hay on what's left of that little field by the BGA anymore. I guess we can kind of take a look at it as we drive by. I don't remember running the mowers over that. I think since I put the harvesters in over there, I decided that it's just not worth it for how little amount of ground we've got there. Maybe if I was an actual farmer, I would want to use every inch of ground available to me, but it just doesn't look worth it over there. I don't see that we ran the mowers through there, so I'm going to skip that little part, and we're going to take this right on out to this little field up here in the corner. I don't think I've got enough to tackle that field, but we're going to give it a go. And I think since it's been a few since we ran this things ourselves, we're going to go ahead and give it a shot at manually tackling this field. I'm going to turn GPS on though, just because we might as well leverage that for our up-down rows. And let me see if I can actually remember how to use GPS. I think I've just got to get going in the direction I want to go. All right, should work. It's been interesting coming back to GPS, which I actually have buttons for on my Stream Deck, compared to using the enhanced vehicle mod, I believe is what I'm using on Tahitian. It kind of mixes me up. That's why I've been focused more on auto drive and course play over here on this series, just because then I don't have to worry about switching my mind back and forth between two different guidance steering type mods. And AI worker Betty is blocked. I bet that's our tillage tool. Having a hard time making the corners on the headlands. Maybe that's the tractor that needs to get an upgrade. As much as I like the two tracked tractors, it seems to run into way too many problems when it's turning it on itself. A lot of people were wondering if it was the tractor or the fertilizer spreader that I was having problems with when we were dry spreading all of our lime, but I really think it's the tractor, based on the fact that it's still hanging up on itself while running this big tillage tool. So we'll handle the headland pass here real quick, and then we're gonna jump back over there and try and see if we can get this tillage done. We've got one more big field that we need to move on to with tillage, so I really want to keep that tillage running. However, we've got to do some more stuff on the other field here. Now, I'm running around in a big circle here with this thing, and I've just now realized, folks, we're not actually spreading anything. There's been no fundamental change here to the amount of fertilizer on this field. We are still at 18%. And while I was looking up at the precision farming window there, it looked like it was applying as we went. When it came down to what's actually on the ground, not so much. So let me take a look. This doesn't look like it's had anything applied to it, but over here, all of this ground is already darker. There's like a little splotch right there. So yeah, we've got nitrogen on that field for sure. Yes. My favorite worker. All right, let's see if we can get him back on track. There you go, sir. Although it looks like we might have gotten him back on track on the wrong track, because he wants to do the up-down rows over here again. Hang on, I'm going to let him go through here. Nope, stop. I'm going to back up. I'm going to make sure we hit this spot, because I don't think we're coming back through here again. And then I'm going to start him off manually once I get around the corner here. Give it a few more feet so we don't jump off onto that other side. And here we go. Of course, I know this corner is going to be too much for him, so I don't know why I even try. Here we go. We'll witness it in person. Too tight of a corner for this tractor. Even though it's not physically binding up on the turn, there's a collider somewhere that it thinks that that's as tight as it can go. So I'm going to go ahead and force it through this corner, and then set him back off on his way. Hopefully he can handle the rest of this. And while I was messing around with all that, we let the other tractor get empty here. So I'm going to have to head on back out here to refill our seed. I was really hoping to stop this guy, catch him on a headland, something like that, but we'll do it the easy way. I'm gonna just bring our auger over here. I need to be on hopper 2, and then I'm gonna have to hop into the cab of the tractor there and open up the seed tender. Maybe I'll pull forward just a bit. Looking pretty good. Is that full? It looks full to me. All right, we're gonna call that full. Looking good. Start this guy back off on the current waypoint. And I actually think we might need more seed at some point. So rather than take this guy back up to the farm, I'm just going to pull him off onto the grass over here, like so. And we'll come back out here if we need to. I forgot to close the hopper. I'm going to wait till he gets lined up here so that I don't have to try and line him up myself. And hopper closed. Off we go. All right, let's bring the digestate out to the big field there. We need to get that slurry spreader moving again. We got a lot of ground to cover with that out in that big field. And then it's really the tillage tool that I am most concerned about keeping moving. We've got that really big cornfield that's down across the ravine from the field we're in right now, and that's going to take a while for us to get taken care of. This should be a quick refill though. I can manage to just pull in here and back in at an angle. Oh, once again, if I could just get my brakes under control. We had the refill point. We'll just leave this guy right here. I'm sure we're going to need him again. Generate a quick course, and we're off to the races, just like that. All right, it looks like our tillage guy made his way back around the field here without too many more issues. So we're going to go ahead and move him on to the last field that we've got left. Just finishing out this last tiniest corner bit here. Perfect. Close that out. And if we zip around here, I do need to fold this up to get out and across the driveway. Looks like somebody else finished. Oh no, that's probably this guy that finished. The message has got to just be a little bit delayed. So I was like, we've still got quite a bit left to go on the slurry field, as well as our drilling that we're doing on the barley there. So I'm getting excited for no reason. We'll run down the road here. Don't have too far to go to get right back into this. And this is by far our largest field on the farm. So we're going to need to spend a little bit of time out here, for better or worse. I'm really kind of curious actually to see how long this is going to go. So let's get a course created real quick. Luckily, it looks like it's going to be a fairly straightforward course. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell him to get started on the first waypoint here, which should be down on the other side of the field. Oh, it looks like he's having a little bit of problems figuring out how to get there. I'm going to do this, see if I can find that first waypoint a little bit easier for this guy. The other struggle with these two-track vehicles, which I think we've talked about in the past, is they don't follow a straight line so well on their own. They get a little bit of oscillation back and forth, worse than the articulated vehicles do. So I'm pretty much convinced that this is the last fall season here for this tractor on the farm. We're going to have to upgrade to something that's going to work out just a little bit better for us. I don't know what that's going to be yet. Let me know in the comments if you think that you've got a tractor I should consider for replacing this 9630T. It's been a good workhorse, but I think with the money we've got coming in on the farm, I don't want to have to deal with these struggles anymore. So I'd rather get it replaced and get something on the farm that's going to work a little bit better with our hired help. And then if we just check in here, we're starting to make progress on this field out here. We're getting a lot of the digestate spread. We're probably over applying a bit. It looks like we're capping out the nitrogen level. I don't think grass actually requires that high of a nitrogen level, so we might actually be giving ourselves a little bit of a penalty, but we've got some areas of this field that seem like they're under applied, so it's we're just going to go all out and get it on here, and then maybe next grass cutting will take a pause on spreading slurry on these fields now that it looks like we're starting to get caught up and we can let it go like every other cutting in between spreading more out here. And then just checking in on our air drill here. We're making good progress. I think we might actually have enough to finish this field. Just taking a look at, we've got maybe 4 more passes here, including the one that we're on. Kind of hard for me to judge, but I think given that the rows are getting shorter as we work our way over towards that headland, I think we're going to knock this out here in the next few passes. Just a couple minutes left on it, really. So I'm going to let these workers wrap up these jobs, and we'll check in on things, and I think I'll be ready to move the time forward here at least a couple of days. I do want to finish up the jobs we're in the middle of in the month of October, but it'd be nice to get into the daytime. We're starting to get into the afternoon, evening hours here, even though it's only like 2 in the afternoon. It's starting to get a little bit sunsetty on the map here. So we'll let this guy finish up, and then we'll move the clock forward. I think with the drill still over 50%, I'm going to go ahead and just run the semi out of the field here. We'll probably dump the rest of the seeds into that drill, though, before we bring it back up to the farm. However, I think having it out here by the entrance to the field, at least, is going to be a good thing. And then I'm also going to see if we can get the pipe out. We'll get it all set up, and then I can just drive by with the drill and unload. Hopper 2 is the appropriate hopper, and it's easier for me to turn this semi around, believe it or not, so I'm going to pull it right here, and then that'll give me enough room to back in here with the drill, I think. We've got just 2 more passes here after we finish the pass that we're on. Looks like we'll tackle this field. And then just checking in on our digestate, we got 10%. Hopefully it makes it to the other end of the field there. That'll be a perfect spot for me to refill him. And our tillage guy is already down here in the bottom part of this field, or the back part, doing all these little short rows. So we're getting those out of the way. Hopefully with the skip rows on, he's not going to get stuck on anything. I'm really hoping he can just bounce his way all the way down this field and tackle it, no problem. We don't have nearly as many of the super sharp curves on this field that we did on the other one. So I think once we get out of the back part of this field here, we'll start covering the acres pretty quick. We spend a lot of time turning around down here. We're not quite going to make it to the end of the field, though. Looks like we're going to run out of digestate right here. That's all right. We'll just bring the semi out there and get it refilled. I can't quite see where it is. Oh, there it is, right straight up from us, which is actually fairly convenient. We'll zip down here real quick. I think if I stay close enough and I slow down ahead of time this time, maybe I won't have to monkey around with the backing up. We've been slowly trying to get more and more efficient at this whole process here. And what I've been doing to speed things up is if I actually turn this guy around, get him pointed in the right way, then when I hop out, I'm on the right side to just jump into this tractor and do what I need to do. We're all about the efficiency here on Kedrick Farms. Just making sure that guy actually started going. Sometimes I do things in such a hurry that I forget to hit the buttons correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy right back down here where he was on the end of the field. Somewhere around here should be good to go. And then it looks like our drill did indeed finish up. So let's go ahead and get this guy moving. I'm going to open up that rear hopper, and we're going to see if I can bring this right up under that auger and top off the seeds that we've got in the hopper here. I don't know if we're going to have enough capacity for all of it. Hopefully I do. I don't remember how much was in the semi now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't think there's that much left. And then we'll just back it in here. We're not backing particularly straight. It looks like the whole thing's kind of sliding off to the side on me. I don't know why that's happening. We'll try again. Oh, that's right. I have to unload from in here, don't I? If I'm not in the cab of the semi, it doesn't unload. It's one of the more annoying features here from Farm Sim 22. It's one of those things that used to work better than that in previous Farm Sims, but for whatever reason, some pieces of equipment require a driver to be present. Even if the truck was on with the auger out like it was, I still got to be in the semi. Either way, let's get this guy back up into the farmyard. And while he's driving up there, we can go ahead and get this guy brought back up into the farmyard as well. I don't think we're going to plant another field of winter crops. I think we're going to keep ourselves to just the one field because we're going to need a lot of corn. Well, I'm saying that, and then I'm like, well, do we do one other field? I wish we knew how much feed we were going to use up as all of these cows get matured. I think we're going to be cautious, folks, and we're going to put just this one field of barley in, and then we're going to plant everything else in corn this year just to make sure I've got enough feed coming in for the cows in the next year. If I've overcommitted to feed and we end up having a surplus after this year, then we can readjust. However, with all that out of the way, I think once we get this equipment up in the yard, we can move the clock forward here at least a day and give ourselves some room to clean up the stuff in the yard. My hope is that after I've moved the clock forward a couple of days, we're going to be able to get those bales out of the open here, and also the trailer full of silage we've had just sitting there for the longest time. I'm hoping to get that into a one of the harvest stores here. This guy is not letting me refill my fuel. I don't know what is going on here. I'm looking for the trigger, but I think it's because it's got these other tanks on it, and those are interfering with my ability to put fuel in the tractor. Let's back up here and I'll try and do it more carefully as I get closer. Yeah, once the saddle tanks on the sides kind of get in there, it thinks I'm trying to put fuel into the liquid fertilizer tanks, and it's like, no, you can't do that. Interesting problems with how the fill systems work in games like this. Amusingly, we've got the same problem in American farming, so if you run into some of our fill points and such with multiple equipment that has multiple different fill containers associated with it, it can get a little confused sometimes. It's a tricky problem to code around. However, I think we're going to put this equipment into the shed here real quick. I do need to get it cleaned up at some point, but I forgot to do that while we were out there, so we'll take care of it at some point here. We always do. But for now, I think I'm going to just leave this thing parked right in here. Camera's bouncing all over the place. And we're going to get this semi parked up, and I'm finally ready to move that clock forward. There we go. Nice and neat. Make sure we shut the engines off. We don't need to be running our fuel down here any more than necessary. And one last check to make sure everything else is moving. We've got tillage coming along nicely. He's still got, I forgot to look when it started, but he's still got about an hour to go on this. And then over here, we've still got about an hour to go on this job as well. So we're doing pretty good. So with all of that out of the way, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and move the time forward a part of a day here, at least, to October 2nd. There we go. Another $203,000 of milk just about, and barely anything in side fees. But what that does is it fills up the slurry in our tanks just about to the max, so I'm going to have to deal with emptying those out here any minute. And then what I'm really looking for is our production screen. Our TMR is about capped out. We got just a little bit of capacity there, so not quite capped out. We don't have enough hay used up, though, to put any more in. And more importantly, our slurry over here in the storage is starting to bleed down there a bit. Our chaff and silage over here is crazy. We've still got a long way to go on getting that all emptied out, but we can come over here and dump some slurry into the BGA, which is currently our biggest problem. So we'll get that going, and then I'm gonna have to do the tricky unload a little bit from multiple containers here into what's left of my capacity. This is I think barn B, and then I don't remember which one of these is which. I'm betting this is barn C over here, which is also full. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna bring this semi in through the side gate. Oh my goodness, we're a little close to the ditch there. And looks like we're refilling the TMR with those two drivers, which is good. We gotta get that TMR out of there. But if I come in through the side gate here, I can unload a little bit out of this smaller barn and then take the circuit all the way back around to unfill out of the other barn over there that's also pretty much at capacity. So here we go. I'll fill this up, I don't know, maybe to about 50%. Just make sure it's coming out of the right one. Yep, that's the one I wanted to be emptying. This one's not too bad. The other one's the one that's really full. So maybe I'll try to get this down to, I don't know, 860. That way they're all at about the same level. I'm going to have to bump the productivity up on that BGA a little bit more than it is. We're just not quite able to keep up. I was driving up trucks of slurry to sell in town in between just to keep the slurry emptied, but that's such a hassle. It's so far away. It doesn't really justify the time and energy. I'd rather just tweak the BGA a little bit to process a little bit more material. We don't need much, but we need just a little bit more to keep up with the production on the farm now that I think we generate more slurry as the animals have gotten older. That looks good. We're going to stop this and maintain the rest of this capacity for emptying out the other one over here. Uh-oh. Oh, that's our slurry spreader out in the field is empty again. That's all right. We'll have to get back over there and get him moving, I suppose. I think this is the one that was full back over here, though. So we're going to set this guy up to start emptying there. We'll just double check. Yep, we're emptying out of the one that I was hoping we would. We should be good to go now on keeping the slurry capacity moving. And our other jobs are well underway. We got tillage moving. I'll go empty out our slurry stuff here in a minute. It looks like we've got barn C all taken care of. So I'm going to redirect this guy to barn A moving forward, because why not? And this guy's still on barn B, but it looks like he's actually working. Managed to do a full unload there. So we're in a good spot. We've got just a little bit of food to go. And we have managed to create a significant amount of capacity here for TMR in the harvest store, which is great because it means we can keep working through these materials, getting stuff made up. I'm feeling great about where we're at from a feed perspective on the series. And we're going to be able to keep moving the time forward here next episode. I am going to let these long-running tillage and slurry spreading jobs finish up off camera here. We've done more than enough of that on camera over the last several episodes that I'm sure you guys don't want to watch us plow up our, sixth field or whatever for the season. They're just going to run off on the behind the scenes. And next episode, we'll check in with... I don't know, moving the time forward through the winter here and probably doing some shopping. We gotta buy some more equipment on the farm, swap some stuff out. I think that would make for a fun episode. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. If you did, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. That's all for today. Kedrick out. I've been going back and forth. I think we're... I can't even talk today, folks.